Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DMV Football Gauntlet. My name is Matthew Heiserman, and today we are joined by three-star high school football recruit and Virginia football commit, Jae'Oyn Williams. Jae'Oyn, it's great to have you on.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. And, right off the bat, I just want to start by asking when you first knew that you wanted to play football.
When I was, my mom loves. She says that this is her story to tell, but I guess I have to tell it now. When I was like two, or
Mhm.
when I was first born, we
Yeah.
was at a little family function, or
Mhm.
like a family reunion or something, and I saw a football at the top of a shelf, and I kept crying until they gave me the football. So since then, I've been playing football
Mhm.
forever.
Yeah, I mean, at least you knew that you wanted to play at a young age, right?
Yeah, very young.
And when you were first getting into football, were you always a quarterback or were you more of a utility guy playing all across the field?
I first started at QB, then I started playing like a lot of things. I've played
Mhm,
pretty much every position you could think of besides center.
mhm.
So I've
Yeah,
been moved all around, and then
yeah.
when I got to like seventh grade, I decided I wanted to go back to quarterback, and I've been playing that ever since.
And would you say quarterback's always been your favorite position?
Of course,
Mhm.
they
Yeah,
get all the shine, but they also
yeah,
get all the criticism. So it's like the
yeah.
biggest high risk, high reward
Mhm.
position.
Absolutely. And when you started playing, was it flag football? Did you jump straight to tackle football? What did that look like for you?
Oh no, I was straight into tackle football. They had to
Mhm.
put weights in my pants so I could play.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And as one of the top-rated quarterbacks in the class of 2026, what's one thing that you really take pride in when it comes to your play style?
Just being the best like teammate I could be, being the
Mhm.
best person on the field for all my coaches and my teammates, and making sure I put my best foot forward whenever I go out on the field and don't disappoint anybody.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And, getting into the recruitment process, on May 3rd, 2022, you received your first ever Division I offer from Campbell University. Can you just describe, what it felt like to receive that first offer and what was going through your mind during that moment?
It felt amazing. I was at
Mhm,
practice. We was at spring practice
mhm. Yeah.
going into my freshman year, so I was still an eighth grader, and I
Oh,
was
wow.
like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to get any offers. I was seeing
Mhm,
everybody else getting the offers. I was waiting for my time, so I was
mhm,
like, yeah. And then one day, my coach, he came to the car when I was about to leave with my mom and my grandma, and he said, Campbell just offered you. And I was like, my heart dropped, and I was like, dang, I got my first one. That was the best feeling ever. And ever
mhm.
since then, I've been
Yeah.
going.
And then, on June 12th, so earlier this month, you committed to play college football at the University of Virginia. What really stood out to you about them, and when did you know that they were the best option for you?
Coach Elliott, Coach Kitchens, Coach
Mhm,
Lamb, Coach Gaither, all those coaches, they were the most genuine coaching staff I was around. So it felt
mhm,
like home as soon as I stepped on campus, and I got the offer on June 9th
mhm,
when I went to the camp after my
yeah,
unofficial visit
mhm,
and the camp. And then a couple days later, I was like, this is the place for me. So
mhm. And you talked about some of the coaches. How would you describe the connection you've already been able to build with those guys like Keith Gaither and Taylor Lamb, and have you been able to work with them yet, or right now is it mostly over the phone?
mostly it's over the phone. I did work with them on my official visit. We
Mhm.
built a stronger connection on my official visit, and I got to know them better. But I've been telling them about recruits and stuff, and going around trying to get everybody to come play for Virginia. So
Mhm. Yeah. And then, as a junior, you received various Division I offers from schools like Virginia, Boston College, and Campbell. Can you just break down what the recruitment process looked like for you as a whole?
it was very bumpy, like
Mhm,
towards the middle, because I started off strong, and then it kind of died down a little bit, but it
mhm.
started to pick back up my junior year, and I started building more relationships with coaches after June 15th, going into my junior year,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and then now I've finally decided where I wanted to play college football.
Mhm. I love to hear that, and DMV is home to some of the most competitive high school football throughout the entire country. How would you say that tougher competition has kinda helped you improve your own game, and what have you been able to learn from the opponents you go up against?
Being able to play the best anywhere, like around, we go around the
Mhm,
country too. So being able to play against the best just prepares you for college football and what you're gonna get. So that means a
mhm,
lot to me to be able to play the best and be able to be on the field with some people I might be teammates with or might
mhm,
be across from later in my
mhm.
career.
And, speaking of playing the best, on April 13th, you got to participate in the Elite 11 camp in Massillon, Ohio, which is one of the top quarterback camps in the nation. Can you just describe what that experience was like for you?
It was a great experience. I loved it was the Midwest. I love being out in the Midwest.
Yep.
My favorite team was Ohio State, of course. Now it's Virginia, but
Mhm,
yeah, that's always been my favorite team. I loved
mhm,
being out in Ohio. They
mhm,
showed me a lot of love, and I got to meet some great quarterbacks and
mhm,
build some long-term friendships. So,
mhm. And, you attend St. Francis Academy in Baltimore, Maryland. How much would you say the distance from home impacted your decision when deciding on a school?
it didn't really impact my
Mhm,
decision. I think I was willing to go anywhere, but I just
mhm,
found home where I found home. So
mhm.
the distance wasn't really that big of a factor, but it was definitely something I had to consider being with my mom and my grandma because they're the closest to me. The rest of my family's in the South, so
Mhm. And, at, St. Francis Academy, last season on November 1st, they beat IMG Academy 30-3 at home. What
yeah.
did that win mean for you, individually as well as the whole team, just being able to go out there and dominate one of the best high school teams in the nation?
It meant the world to me. We were on a 2-year losing streak to IMG, and that's our rivals. So I didn't
Yeah.
want to lose another one. And being able to go out
Mhm,
there and dominate them and get my first ranked win over a top five opponent and put my team back up in the top 10 meant the world.
and I know that in that game you were really involved, in the run game as well. How much do you value versatility in your game, just being able to, be able to rely as a passer and a runner as well?
The game has shifted from more
Mhm,
less mobile quarterbacks to more mobile quarterbacks and RPOs and read options and stuff with guys like Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, and all of them. So
mhm,
being able to be versatile definitely helps with
mhm,
recruitment and all that stuff, and being able to
mhm,
keep the defense on their toes. So yeah.
mhm. And now that, obviously the season is wrapped up and your recruitment process has wrapped up, can you just break down what a typical day looks like for you in terms of practicing and training?
Normally, typical day, Monday through Thursday, I would go train. I would wake up at 4, do my morning routine, go
Mhm,
train at 6, come home at like 7:15, 7:30,
mhm,
take a shower, and then for summer, I get ready for summer workouts.
mhm,
And during the season, I go to school, and then after that, for summer, we got summer workouts from 12 to 6, and then after that, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I go to Skills U, which is another training session, and then I'm back at home. I come home, I
mhm.
eat, and I go to sleep, and I'm right back to it again.
Yep. And with just 1 year until college, what are some of the main things you're still trying to improve before you reach that next level?
Um, I would say accuracy is something that
Mhm,
any QB could always improve on. I'm still working on being able to read more complex coverages. So yeah, I'm working with my offensive coordinator on that, and
mhm,
being able to showcase my ability to throw on different areas of the field.
mhm. And then in terms of the mental side, before games, do you have any superstitions or maybe music you like to listen to get yourself in the right mindset?
Surprised, and all the people are going to be surprised by this, but I like to listen to like R&B before I go
Mm,
into a game. So I'm not
mhm,
really a super hype guy. I'm more of a chill
yeah,
person before a game. I like to lock in, listen to R&B, have fun with my team, dance a little bit, be
mhm,
loose. So when I'm in the game,
yeah.
it's no nerves or nothing.
Yeah, 100%, and, in terms of watching NFL guys, are there any, NFL quarterbacks that you kinda look up to, take inspiration from, try and model your game after?
My favorite NFL quarterback ever was Cam Newton. I'm also a Panthers fan,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I watch him a lot. But currently, I watch Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Bryce Young, Lamar Jackson, come some people that
Mhm.
play the game similar to me and my size. So, yeah,
Now when you're watching a game, are you typically paying attention to the game as a whole or really just what the quarterbacks and what they're doing?
I'm mostly pay attention to QBs,
Mhm,
but the game as a whole is fun to watch. But mostly the QBs because that's what I specialize in. So,
mhm.
yeah.
Now now what's one thing you don't think the average football fan necessarily knows about the quarterback position?
How hard it is to see between the pocket when you
Mhm,
it was a clip of Tua in the pocket at practice, and a lot of people they ceased their criticism when they saw how hard it is to really maneuver a pocket and be able to see what you're looking at.
mhm. And I know you're not necessarily always the tallest guy on the field. You're 5'9", right?
5'10", yeah, 5'9",
Okay.
5'10", around
So
there, yeah.
so how is that when maybe you're going up against a, a 6'2", 6'3" defensive lineman?
You always got to find holes in the offensive line. So in
Mhm,
protections, there's slide left, slide right, half slide, stuff like that. So you got to know your protection
mhm,
very well if you're even, especially if you're shorter. You got to know your
mhm.
protections very well so you can find those windows and be able to see and throw. And sometimes you got to throw blindly and just trust your pre-snap read and post-snap confirmation.
Now, during your final year playing, high school football, are there any personal goals as well as team goals that you would like to achieve?
Of course, I want to go undefeated, win the national championship,
Mhm,
but
mhm,
individual goals, I would say 1,500 passing yards, at least 800 to 1,000 rushing yards.
uh,
I want
mhm,
30 touchdowns,
mhm.
and then, of course, end the season off undefeated with a national championship.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I do have one final question to ask before we wrap things up. What's one random fun fact about yourself, just so the people watching can get to know you a little better at a personal level?
Random fun fact.
Mhm,
Let's see. Mm, this is not really. I like to go bowling,
mhm,
bowling, arcade, stuff like that. I'm not really, but I'm also a introvert, so a lot of
mhm,
people wouldn't. I'm more extroverted when I'm around people, but I'm a very big introvert. I like to be in my own room and away from everybody, close my door, lock in,
mhm.
do whatever I want to do.
Now, if you weren't playing football, if you could be a professional in any other sport, would you say it would be bowling?
uh, bowling or wrestling,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
A lot of sports
Yeah.
you can't.
Mhm,
You gotta rely on yourself for. I love the team aspect of football, but
mhm,
wrestling, you can't really blame anybody else but yourself.
mhm,
Bowling, you can't really blame anybody else but yourself.
mhm.
So I like that too.
Absolutely. With that being said, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I really do appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to say to the people watching before we wrap things up?
Nah, go Who's.
Absolutely. Again, big thanks to Jae'On Williams for being on the DMV Football Gauntlet. And as always, we will see you next time.